The stars looked like tiny dots of light through the window of the spaceship. Captain Daniel Reeves stood in the control room watching them pass by. His ship, the Horizon's Edge, was shaking badly. The engines were working too hard. They had been running away for 3 days now. Daniel was tired. His whole crew was tired. 47 people depended on him to keep them safe. Behind them, somewhere in the darkness of space, bad people called Krill Raiders were chasing them. The Raiders wanted to steal their cargo and probably kill everyone on board. The cargo hold was full of medicine. They were taking it to a colony called New Haven. People there were sick and needed help, but none of that would matter if the Raiders caught them first. Lieutenant Karen Walsh was sitting at her station. She was watching the computer screens carefully. Suddenly she looked up with worry in her eyes. "Captain, we have a problem," Karen said. "There is a ship coming toward us. It is moving very fast." Daniel felt his heartbeat faster. If this was another Raider ship, they were done for. Their ship could not fight. They could not run anymore. The engines were already working as hard as they could, but as the ship got closer, Daniel saw it was different. It was not like any ship he had ever seen before. The ship was beautiful. It had smooth curves that looked almost alive. The outside of the ship seemed to shine with many colors like oil floating on water. "They are trying to talk to us," Karen said. She sounded surprised. Daniel pressed a button. A picture appeared in the air in front of him. It showed a being that was not human. The creature had 4 eyes that glowed softly. Its skin changed colors as Daniel watched. The computer changed the alien words into English so Daniel could understand. "Hello, human ship," the alien said. "My name is Commander Velthara. I am from the Thalassen Collective. We have been watching you. We know you are in trouble. The Krill Raiders will catch you in about 1 hour. We can help you. We can protect you and take you to a safe place." Daniel looked at his crew. They looked back at him. Nobody knew what to think. Humans were still new to space. They had only learned how to travel faster than light 15 years ago. Every time they met a new alien species, it was like rolling dice. Some aliens were friendly, some were not. And humans did not know anything about the Thalassen. Daniel thought for a moment. They did not have many choices. The Raiders would catch them soon. Maybe these Thalassen were trying to trick them, or maybe they really wanted to help. "Why would you help us?" Daniel asked. He tried to sound calm. "What do you want from us?" The alien's eyes became brighter. "We help because we can. We help because leaving people to die when we can save them is wrong. We do not need any other reason. We do not want anything from you." Daniel had never heard anything like that before. In space, everyone usually wanted something. Trade, information, territory, something. Nobody just helped for free, but he did not have time to think about it more. The Thalassen ship moved next to the Horizon's Edge. It was bigger than Daniel's ship. It looked powerful. Then the Krill Raiders appeared. 3 of their ships came out of nowhere. They were ready to attack. But when they saw the Thalassen ship, they stopped. The Thalassen ship was clearly much stronger than the Raider ships. The Krill knew they could not win a fight. The Raider ships turned around and left quickly. Daniel could hardly believe it. Just like that, the danger was gone. Commander Velthara stayed with them. The Thalassen ship traveled beside the Horizon's Edge for many hours. They made sure no more Raiders came back. Finally, they reached a coalition station. It was a safe place with many ships and people. Daniel tried to thank Commander Velthara. He tried to offer payment. He tried to give them something, anything. But the Thalassen refused everything. "We need nothing from you," Velthara said. "We are happy that you are safe. We hope to meet again someday in better times. Travel safely, Captain Reeves." The Thalassen ship left. Daniel watched it go until it disappeared among the stars. He stood there for a long time thinking. Then he turned to his crew. Karen was still at her station. Other crew members were there too. They all looked confused and grateful at the same time. "Write down everything that happened," Daniel said. His voice was serious. "Write every detail about the Thalassen. Write about Commander Velthara. Write about how they saved us. Write about how they wanted nothing in return. Put it all in the ship's records." Karen looked confused. "Sir, they said they did not want anything from us. They do not want to be paid back." Daniel shook his head. "That does not matter. The Thalassen just saved 47 human lives. They saved our ship. They saved the medicine we are carrying. People on New Haven will live because of what the Thalassen did today. Humanity does not forget things like that. We do not forget when someone helps us, But what can we do? Another crew member asked. They are so much more advanced than us. They have better ships, better technology. What could we possibly give them? Daniel looked out at the stars again. I do not know. Maybe nothing. Maybe someday they will need something that only humans can do. Something that our special way of thinking can solve. Something that our stubbornness or our creativity can fix. Maybe that day will never come. He paused, then continued. But if that day does come, I want humanity to remember. I want us to be ready. I want us to help them the way they helped us today. Not because we owe them. Not because we have to. But because that is who we are. That is who we should be. The crew nodded. They understood. They began writing the report. Every detail was recorded. The time, the place, the words that were spoken. The name of Commander Velthara. The name of their ship. The name of their people. It all went into the official records of Earth and the human colonies. It was saved in many computers. It was put in libraries. One small act of kindness done by aliens who asked for nothing in return was now part of human history. Daniel did not know if it would ever matter. He did not know if humans would ever be able to help the Thalassene. But he knew one thing for certain. If the time came, if the Thalassene ever needed help, humanity would remember this day, and they would do everything in their power to repay the kindness they had received. That was the human way. Every favor was remembered. Every kindness was noted, and one day when the time was right, it would be repaid. 70 years had passed since that day. Captain Daniel Reeves was long gone now, but his report still existed in the computers. It sat in the human records waiting. Admiral Christine Bauer sat at her desk on a space station near Earth. She was reading a message. She had read it 3 times now. Each time she felt worse. The message came from Thalassene space. It was broken in places. The signal was weak, but the words were clear enough. They were words that no one wanted to read. A plague is killing our people. It is spreading fast. Our doctors cannot stop it. Our medicine does not work. We are moving people out of the cities, but we think 70% of our people will die in the next 6 months. If anyone can help us, please help. We are asking all our friends in space. Christine felt cold. 70%. That meant billions of Thalassene would die. An entire civilization was about to disappear. She opened the human records. She typed in the word Thalassene. The computer found the old report immediately. It was from 70 years ago. She read about Captain Daniel Reeves. She read about the Horizon's Edge. She read about Commander Velthara and how the Thalassene had saved human lives and asked for nothing. At the end of the report, Captain Reeves had written something. He wrote that humanity should remember this kindness. He wrote that someday humans might be able to help the Thalassene. He wrote that if that day came, humans should be ready. Christine closed her eyes for a moment. Then she opened them and pressed a button on her desk. Get me the Council of Sciences, she said. Right now. I do not care what time it is. This is an emergency. And wake up Dr. Gregory Hartman. I know it is 3 in the morning on the moon. Wake him up anyway. Tell him we have a favor to repay. Things moved fast after that. Within hours, every scientist who studied diseases was called. Every doctor who understood alien bodies was contacted. Every laboratory that could help was told to start working immediately. It was the biggest medical research project in human history. Humans had never worked together like this before. Not for themselves. Certainly not for aliens. The Thalassene sent samples of the disease. These samples were sent to 12 different worlds where humans lived. In every laboratory, scientists worked without stopping. They worked day and night. They did not go home. They slept at their desks. Dr. Gregory Hartman led the main research team. He was an expert on alien biology. He had spent his whole life studying how different aliens' bodies worked. But this was different from his usual work. This was not about learning. This was not about science for the sake of science. This was about saving lives. Billions of lives. After 2 weeks of work, Gregory had to give Admiral Christine a report. She came to his laboratory on Mars. He looked tired. His eyes were red. He had not slept properly in days. Tell me what you have learned, Christine said. Gregory pulled up pictures on a screen. This disease is very strange. It attacks the Thalassene bodies in a special way. Their bodies try to fight it. But fighting it makes things worse. Their immune system, the part of their body that fights disease, actually helps the disease spread faster. Can we cure it? Christine asked. She did not want a long explanation. She wanted to know if they could save the thalassin. Gregory was quiet for a moment. Maybe. We are trying something the thalassin doctors did not think of. Humans have a special history with disease. We have survived many plagues. Diseases that should have killed all of us. Our bodies fight disease in strange ways. Our immune systems are messy. They are unpredictable. But they work, he continued. We think we can make a medicine using what we learned from human diseases. Something that will stop the plague without making the thalassin immune system go crazy. How long will it take? Christine asked. 3 months. Maybe 4. We need to test it. We need to make sure it works. We need to make sure it is safe. Gregory looked worried. But Admiral, even if we make the cure, we have another problem. The thalassin collective is huge. They live on hundreds of planets. We would need billions of doses of the medicine. Making that much medicine will take a long time. Too long. The thalassin do not have that much time. Christine looked at him. Her face was hard, determined. You make the cure. I will worry about getting it to them. Just make sure it works. Gregory nodded. He went back to work. So did all the other scientists. They worked harder than they had ever worked before. All across human space, people heard about what was happening. They heard about the thalassin plague. They heard about the old story from 70 years ago. They heard about how the thalassin had saved human lives without asking for anything. People started helping. They gave money for the research. They volunteered to work in the laboratories. They offered their skills, engineers, doctors, pilots, computer experts. Everyone wanted to help. News reporters asked Christine why humanity was doing so much for aliens. Why were they spending so much money? Why were they using their best scientists? Why did they care so much? Christine always gave the same answer. Because 70 years ago, the thalassin helped us when they did not have to. They saved human lives. They asked for nothing. Now they need help. We will not forget what they did. We will not let them die if we can save them. The message spread across human worlds. It spread to other alien species too. Everyone watched to see what would happen. Some aliens thought humans were foolish. Why waste so much for aliens? Some thought humans were weak. Some thought humans had a hidden plan. But some aliens watched with respect. Some watched with hope. They saw something new. They saw a species that remembered kindness. A species that believed in paying back favors even after 70 years. Even when it was hard. Even when it cost them so much. In his laboratory on Mars, Dr. Gregory Hartman did not think about any of that. He thought only about the work. About finding the cure. About the billions of thalassin people who were dying while he worked. He had never met a thalassin. He had only seen pictures. But he imagined them. He imagined their families. He imagined their children. He imagined them scared and sick and dying. And he worked faster. Day 87. That was when everything changed. Dr. Lisa Montgomery was working late at the Mars Institute. She had been studying the samples for weeks. She had run hundreds of tests, then she saw it. A pattern in the data. A specific protein sequence. It was similar to something found in human cells. Something that helped humans fight certain viruses. Lisa ran more tests. She checked her results 3 times. 4 times. 5 times. She could not believe it. The answer had been there all along. It was so simple. The thalassin doctors had missed it because they did not think like humans. They did not have the same evolutionary history with disease. She called Dr. Gregory Hartman immediately. He came to her laboratory within minutes. He looked at her results. His eyes went wide. This could work, he said quietly. Then louder. This could actually work. They spent the next week testing the treatment. They used computer models first. Then they tested it on thalassin cells in the laboratory. The results were perfect. The treatment stopped the disease. It did not trigger the immune system cascade. It just worked. The treatment was 97% effective. It had almost no side effects. It was everything they had hoped for. Gregory sent a message to Admiral Christine immediately. She came to Mars the next day. They showed her everything. The test results, the data, the proof that it worked. Christine looked at the data for a long time. Then she smiled. You did it. You actually did it, but Gregory did not smile. We found the cure. But we still have the problem we talked about before. We need to make billions of doses. We need to get them to every thalassin world fast. We have maybe 3 months before the death rate becomes unstoppable. Christine nodded. She had been thinking about this problem for weeks. She had talked to engineers. She had talked to factory managers. She had talked to her advisors. The numbers were bad. Making enough medicine using normal methods would take at least a year. That was when engineer Kyle Patterson asked to speak with her. Kyle was young. He worked on industrial technology. He had an idea. Christine called a meeting. She brought in all the important leaders, military commanders, scientists, factory owners, government officials. Kyle stood in front of them all and explained his plan. "We do not make the medicine here," Kyle said. "We give the Thalassin everything they need to make it themselves. We give them the blueprints, the instructions, the formulas, everything." He pressed a button and a picture appeared on the wall. It showed a molecular fabricator. "And we send them these, all of them. Every single one we have." The room went silent. Everyone stared at the picture. Molecular fabricators were the most valuable machines humans had. Each one could build complex molecules atom by atom. They made everything: medicine, electronics, materials. They were the foundation of human industry. Each fabricator cost millions to build. Humans guarded the technology carefully. Other aliens would pay almost anything to get them. One of the government officials spoke up. "You want to give them away? Give away our most valuable technology?" Kyle shook his head. "Not give away, lend. We send human technicians with the fabricators. Our people set them up. Our people teach the Thalassin how to use them. Our people run them if needed. When the plague is over, we take them back." He paused. "But yes, we would have to strip our own factories, stop our own production, send everything we have to Thalassin space. Our economy would slow down. We would have shortages. It would hurt us. But it is the only way to make enough medicine fast enough to save them." The room erupted in arguments. Some people loved the idea. Some people hated it. Everyone had an opinion. Christine stood up. Everyone went quiet. "We do it," she said. Her voice was firm, final. "Every fabricator we have, every single one, empty the factories. Stop production. I do not care if our economy suffers. I do not care if we have shortages. The Thalassin are dying. We can save them. That is what matters." She looked around the room. 70 years ago, the Thalassin saved human lives. They did not ask what it would cost them. They did not worry about their economy. They just helped. Now it is our turn. We help. Whatever it takes. The order went out that same day. Every human world received the same message. Send your fabricators to the collection points. Prepare them for transport. This was not optional. This was not a request. This was humanity working together to save another species. Factories shut down. Production lines stopped. Workers carefully removed the fabricators from their housings. Each machine was packed with care. They were loaded onto cargo ships. At the same time, a call went out for volunteers. They needed engineers who understood fabricators. They needed medical personnel who could help distribute the cure. They needed logistics experts who could organize everything. They needed thousands of people willing to go to Thalassin space and stay there until the job was done. The response was overwhelming. Within days, they had more volunteers than they needed. People from every human world signed up. Young and old, experienced and inexperienced. They all wanted to help. Dr. Gregory Hartman was one of the volunteers. People asked him why. He was the lead scientist. His work was done. He had found the cure. He did not need to go. "I designed this cure," Gregory said simply. "I need to make sure it works. I need to see it through to the end." 3 weeks after Kyle proposed his plan, the fleet was ready. 200 cargo ships, each one filled with fabricators and supplies, each one carrying human volunteers. It was the largest mobilization of human resources in history, and it was all to save aliens. News of the fleet spread across the galaxy. Every species heard about it. Many could not believe it. Humans were giving up their most valuable technology. They were hurting their own economy. They were risking their people. All for aliens who had helped them 70 years ago. Some species laughed. They called humans foolish. Some species were suspicious. They wondered what humans really wanted. Some species said nothing. But they watched. They watched very carefully. And a few species felt something new, something they had not felt before. They felt respect. They felt hope. They wondered if maybe, just maybe, the galaxy could be a better place than they thought. The human fleet departed on a Tuesday morning. Admiral Christine stood on the space station and watched them go. 200 ships carrying the hope of an entire civilization, carrying the cure for a plague, carrying the proof that humanity remembered its debts, she whispered to herself as the last ship disappeared. A promise, a hope, come home safe, and bring our friends back with you. 20 years passed after the Thalassan plague was cured. Humanity and the Thalassan became close friends. They traded with each other. They shared knowledge. They trusted each other. But something else happened too. Something bigger. The story of what humanity had done spread across the galaxy. It was told and retold on thousands of worlds. It became a legend. A story about a species that remembered kindness even after 70 years. A species that gave everything to save others. Other alien species started paying attention to humans. They realized something important. Humans had very long memories. If you helped a human, they would remember forever. And someday, somehow, they would help you back. Maybe not right away. Maybe not in the same way. But they would remember. More importantly, humans did not just repay favors. They asked others to pass kindness forward, to help someone else, to make the galaxy better. This idea started to spread. The Thalassan remembered their promise to Admiral Christine. When the Viridian colony had crop failures and faced starvation, the Thalassan were the first to respond. They sent food and farming equipment. They sent experts to help. They asked for nothing in return. The Viridians were grateful. The Thalassan told them about humanity, about the plague cure, about how Admiral Christine had asked them to pass kindness forward. The Viridians understood. They promised to do the same. Years later, the Viridians encountered the Kasari. The Kasari were refugees. Their sun had exploded. They had lost their homeworld. Millions of them were fleeing in old ships looking for somewhere to live. The Viridians remembered the lesson. They gave the Kasari land on their planets. They gave them resources. They helped them build new homes. They asked for nothing. They just helped because it was right. The pattern kept repeating. The Kasari helped others. Those others helped more. Species that had once been isolated started cooperating. Species that had been enemies started talking. The idea of paying kindness forward became common in galactic society. Historians started calling it the Great Cooperation. They said it was a fundamental change in how civilizations treated each other. And they said it all started with one human captain who wrote a report 70 years ago, and with one Thalassan commander who helped strangers without asking for anything. Lieutenant Benjamin Cross knew all these stories. His grandmother had been Karen Walsh, who served on the horizon's edge with Captain Reeves. She had told him the stories when he was young, about the Krill raiders, about the fear of being caught, about Commander Velthara appearing to save them. Now Benjamin commanded his own ship. He was on patrol near the frontier. It was supposed to be a routine mission. Boring. Easy. Then his sensors detected something. A ship in trouble. Its engines were failing. It was drifting toward an asteroid field. If it entered the field, the asteroids would tear the ship apart. Change course, Benjamin ordered. Intercept that ship. Prepare rescue operations. As they got closer, the communications officer looked up with surprise. Sir, I identified the ship. They are Krill. The Krill. The same species that had attacked his grandmother's ship 70 years ago. The same species that had terrorized human shipping for years. They had reformed now. They had given up piracy. They were trying to be legitimate traders, but many humans still hated them. The old wounds were still fresh. Some of Benjamin's crew looked uncertain. One of them spoke up. Sir, they are Krill. They were our enemies. Maybe we should just let them handle it themselves. Benjamin looked at his crew. They were our enemies. Past tense. Now they are just people who need help. People who will die if we do nothing. He thought about his grandmother. About the stories she told. About being chased and scared and helpless. About how grateful she was when the Thalassan saved them. My grandmother taught me something important, Benjamin said. Humanity does not abandon people in need. Not even former enemies. Especially not former enemies. Every time we choose to help instead of holding grudges, we make the galaxy better. We show others how to be better. Continue the rescue operation, he ordered firmly. The rescue was not easy. The Krill ship was tumbling. Its power was almost gone, but Benjamin's crew worked carefully. They matched the tumble. They attached tow cables. They pulled the krill ship out of danger just before it entered the asteroid field. They towed the krill ship to safety. They gave them spare parts. They helped them fix their engines. The krill captain came aboard Benjamin's ship to thank him personally. The krill looked confused. "Why did you help us?" "Your people have every reason to hate us, to leave us to die. Why did you save us?" Benjamin smiled. "Because that is not how humans work. 70 years ago, the Thalassan helped one of our ships when they did not have to. We repaid that by saving their entire civilization from a plague. They passed that lesson forward. They helped others. Those others helped more. Now it is spreading across the galaxy," he continued. "Now it is our turn to help you. Maybe someday you will help someone else. Maybe that someone will help another. That is how we build a better galaxy, one favor at a time. One act of kindness at a time." The krill captain was quiet for a moment. "This philosophy of yours, this paying forward of kindness, it is spreading, is it not?" "Yes," Benjamin said. "And that is good." "That is the point," the krill nodded slowly. "We were wrong about humans. We thought you were weak. We thought kindness was weakness. But we were wrong. Your kindness is your strength. It changes people. It changes entire civilizations. I hope so," Benjamin replied. "That is what we are trying to do. Humanity believes civilization is not measured by technology or territory. It is measured by how we treat each other, especially when it costs us something to be kind." The krill captain left. The krill ship departed safely. Benjamin watched them go. He thought about all the stories. About Captain Reeves and Commander Velthera. About Admiral Christine and Dr. Gregory Hartman. About his grandmother Karen and her tales of being saved by strangers. He thought about how one simple act of kindness, performed without expecting anything in return, had set off a chain reaction. That chain reaction was still spreading across the stars. It was changing how species treated each other. It was making the galaxy better. Humanity had brought many things to the galactic community. They had brought technology. They had brought culture and art. They had brought new ideas, but perhaps their greatest gift was simpler. It was the understanding that kindness matters, that helping others matters, that remembering who helped you matters, and that passing that kindness forward could change everything. Every favor is remembered by humanity, not as a debt to be collected, not as a business transaction, but as an inspiration, as an example of how to live, as a reminder of what truly matters. And in the most unexpected ways, at the most crucial moments, that memory transforms the galaxy. One act of kindness at a time. One favor remembered at a time. One species helping another, expecting nothing in return. That was the human way. And slowly it was becoming the galactic way too. The human fleet arrived in Thalassan space after 2 weeks of travel. What they found was heartbreaking. Entire cities were empty. Streets that should have been full of people were silent. Buildings stood dark. The disease had spread faster than anyone expected. Medical centers were full beyond capacity. Doctors and nurses worked until they collapsed. Bodies were piling up faster than they could be buried. The Thalassan were a proud and ancient civilization. Now they were dying in massive numbers. But the humans did not waste time. They landed their ships and got to work immediately. They found empty warehouses and set up the molecular fabricators. They established production lines. They organized distribution networks. They worked 20 hours a day. They slept in shifts. The Thalassan helped as much as they could. Human engineers trained Thalassan workers on how to use the fabricators. Human doctors taught Thalassan medical staff how to give the treatment. Everyone worked together. 72 hours after landing, the first doses of the cure were ready. Dr. Gregory Hartman personally went to the largest medical center. He carried the first batch of medicine himself. The medical center was overwhelmed. Sick Thalassan were everywhere. Some were lying on the floors. Some were barely breathing. The doctors looked exhausted and hopeless. Gregory worked with the Thalassan doctors. They started with the sickest patients first, the ones who were closest to death. They administered the treatment and waited. The results came faster than Gregory expected. Within hours, patients started to improve. Their breathing became easier. Their color returned. The symptoms began to fade like snow melting in the sun. By the end of the first day, patients who had been dying were sitting up. They were talking. They were asking for food. The Thalassan doctors could hardly believe it. Some of them cried. Some of them laughed. All of them felt hope for the first time in months. One of the first patients to recover was an elderly Thalassan. The name on the medical file caught Gregory's attention. Belmora. The family name was Velthara. When the patient was strong enough to talk, Gregory sat beside the bed. "Your name," Gregory said. "Velthara. I have heard that name before." The elderly Thalassan colors shifted to warm tones. "Belmora is my personal name. Velthara is my family name." "It is the name of my line." "My ancestor was Commander Velthara. Many years ago, my ancestor helped a human ship that was being chased by raiders." Gregory smiled. "I know, Captain Daniel Reeves commanded that ship. He wrote a report about what happened. That report is why we are here. Your ancestor saved human lives 70 years ago. Humanity does not forget things like that." Belmora's eyes widened. "But that was so long ago, and my ancestor asked for nothing. He just helped because it was right." "Exactly," Gregory said. "He did it because it was right. Not for payment. Not for trade. Just because it was the right thing to do. We are here for the same reason. This is the right thing to do," he continued. "That is how humanity works. We remember who helped us. We remember who stood beside us when we needed it. And when they need help, we stand beside them. Not because we have to. Not because they asked, but because that is who we are." Velmora was quiet for a long time. Then the Thalassan said something that Gregory would remember forever. "My ancestor made the right choice that day. He saved not just one ship. He saved my entire people. Because you remembered. You remembered and you came when we needed you most." Over the following months, the cure spread across all Thalassan worlds. The fabricators worked day and night. They produced billions of doses. Human volunteers flew to distant planets to set up new production centers. They trained more Thalassan workers. They organized the distribution. The death rate began to fall. First slowly, then faster. Cities began to come back to life. Families reunited. Children who had been sick began playing again. The plague that had threatened to destroy an entire civilization was being defeated. Some humans stayed for over a year. They wanted to make sure everything was working properly. They wanted to be certain that Thalassan could produce the medicine themselves. They wanted to see this through to the end. Finally, the day came when the plague was declared defeated. The last infected patient had recovered. The emergency was over. The Thalassan were safe. The Thalassan government held a huge ceremony on their homeworld. They invited Admiral Christine and all the human volunteers. They wanted to honor the humans. They wanted to show their gratitude. The Thalassan premier stood before the crowd. Thousands of Thalassan were there. The speech was broadcast to every Thalassan world. "The humans saved us," the premier said. "When we were dying, they came. They gave us their best technology. They sent their best people. They asked for nothing. How can we possibly repay this debt?" The premier turned to Admiral Christine. "Tell us, what do you want? Advanced technology? Trade agreements? Territory? We will give you anything within our power." Christine stood up. She looked at the crowd. At the Thalassan who were alive because of what humans had done. She thought about Captain Reeves, about Commander Velthara, about the simple act of kindness that had started all of this. "We do not want payment," Christine said clearly. "We came because it was right. Not for trade. Not for rewards. Just because you needed help and we could give it." She paused. "But if you truly want to give us something, there is one thing we would appreciate." The premier leaned forward. "Name it, whatever it is, if we can give it, we will." "Remember this," Christine said. "Remember that humanity came when you called. Remember how we helped. And someday when you meet another species that needs help, help them. Do not ask for payment. Do not demand trade. Just help them because it is right." She looked around at all the Thalassan faces. "That is all we ask. Pass it forward. Help someone else the way we helped you. The way your ancestor helped us. Make the galaxy a little better. That is the only payment we want." The crowd was silent for a moment. Then they began to make a sound. It was the Thalassan way of showing deep respect and agreement. The sound grew louder and louder until it filled the entire plaza. The premier nodded. Colors shifted across the Thalassan face, showing deep emotion. "We will remember," the premier promised. "We will never forget. And we will pass this kindness forward as you have asked. This we swear." Admiral Christine smiled. She had made a good choice. The Thalassan would keep their promise, and maybe, just maybe, that promise would change the galaxy.